Do you think you know everything about Windows? Yes. Really? No. Well, that's okay, because we've got some great tools to enhance your existing workflows. Let's review Windows PowerToys. My name is Beth, and I'm a frontline technician here at Kite Technology Group. Every day we help users with their workflows, and this PowerToys app is one app that has many tools that could offer you some helpful shortcuts and turn you into a Windows Power user. Let's take a look at the app. We're going to start in the Windows Store. By the way, there's a written version of these tips below so you can reference them later. To install the app, open the Windows Store on your PC. Search for Microsoft PowerToys and click to install. You may need an administrator password to allow the installation. Like I said before, the PowerToys app is one app with many tools. It's actually a community-driven app, so it's still being developed and there are many people working on it, including people who just use the app. But because that's the case, not all the features work exactly how they should, so I'll be showing you 3 of the tools that have been thoroughly developed, but note that you might still run into bugs. Once the app is installed, it will open to this welcome screen with information about the latest updates to the application. The tools are all listed on the left, and each tab has a summary of what the tool can do. Feel free to go through and check them out. We can close this information window, and let's start looking at the tools. To open PowerToys, look for it in the taskbar tray. Right-click, and select Settings. Now we have a full list of tools, and we can adjust each one. By default, PowerToys does enable every single application, so we're going to go through and turn them off. They could cause some strange behavior if you're not expecting the tool to be enabled. We can later re-enable all of the tools that we want to use. Today we're going to look at 3 tools: Always on Top, Fancy Zones, and Power Rename. Always on Top allows you to select a window to be on top of all other windows at all times. This would be great for a user who uses sticky notes or the calculator app that needs to be up front and stay visible even when other windows are open. The feature is bound to an activation shortcut, which we can adjust. So when we hit Windows Control T, which is the current one, we set this window to be always on top. Disable the always on top by pressing the same shortcut. We can also edit the shortcut to something that maybe your fingers can reach a little bit better. So let's adjust it to Windows Control Y. We can also adjust the color of the border and its width to make it more or less visible depending on your preference. Great! Now when I hit my activation shortcut, the window stays on top and has a green border so I can see which one it is. The window will also play a sound when you have enabled the Always on Top feature. You can turn that on and off in the settings. Okay, let's look at our second tool, Fancy Zones. Fancy Zones allows you to create templates for your monitors so you can always have your windows in the same place. For example, I like to have 3 windows next to each other at all times, but it's a little bit hard to do that manually and adjust the sizes so that the windows are all visible. So we're going to create a Fancy Zone for that. To adjust the zones, we're going to launch the layout editor. And you'll see at the top that it displays my 3 monitors. I've got a left, right, and middle. Let's work on the middle for now. Because I like to have 3 next to each other, we'll choose the columns. I'll select my second monitor and then I'll select the columns template so that it'll apply to my second monitor. We can also create our own custom layouts, but we'll go over that in a little bit. For now, I've selected the monitor and the template, so now I can close the editor. Fancy Zones are now enabled. We're going to make sure that this hold Shift key to activate zones is checked, and that will allow us to hold the Shift key while we're dragging the window to activate where the zones are so we can see what's going on. So I'm going to click and drag while holding Shift and select a zone for my window. And you can see it snaps perfectly. Now if we get a couple more windows on the screen here, we can set each window to a separate column, and now they're all aligned perfectly. Now, what if you have a custom layout that you would like for a monitor? Well, we can create a new layout with some custom settings. So let's name our custom layout My Monitor. Okay. We're going to choose the canvas option so that we're not limited to a grid. I'd like to have some windows overlapping. This is the custom layout editor. We can move the template elements around, add more, and change the size. Great, I think that's enough for us. We can save and apply, and we'll make sure that our new template, My Monitor at the bottom, is applied to our second monitor. Great. Different layouts can be applied to different monitors, and they'll be active simultaneously. Each monitor can have its own arrangement of windows. Now we'll close the editor, and if we shift and drag our window around, we can see the zones that we just created. We can drag them to the different layered zones, and let's add some more windows in here. Now we have a window in each of our new zones of our custom layout. Now, because the layout editor allows you to create as many windows as you want, you can customize them to apps of a specific size or window configurations. Fancy Zones has a lot of customization options and settings that we didn't even cover today, but they can be super helpful for integrating this tool into your workflow. Feel free to look around and test them out. One of these may be the shortcut that you've been looking for. Let's look at our last app, Power Rename. This is a great tool for renaming many files at the same time with some intelligent options. Let's take a look. There aren't a lot of settings within the PowerToys app for Power Rename, but we'll enable it and take a look at it within File Explorer. So let's open up File Explorer and we'll select some documents that we can rename. The first step is to select all the files you want to rename, right-click, and select Power Rename. The resulting menu gives us options for a search and replace feature. So I'm going to search for the word record. And we're going to select match all occurrences and that we want case sensitive in this case. We only want record with a capital R. And we're going to replace it with DANC, changing our file names from recording to dancing. You can perform the same search and replace with the file name or the extension, which is really great if you need to convert a lot of files to a different extension. We also have options to exclude or include folders, subfolders, or files. You have the option of what you want to rename. We can also select the new file names to have uppercase, lowercase, camel case, or sentence case. We can also choose our file names to be enumerated. This will remove old enumeration and add new enumeration. This is great for files that are inconsistent. For example, all of my previous recording files are enumerated, but number 20 is missing. So if we enable it on the new file names, the dancing file names, we can see number 20 is present, even though in the old file names, recording 20 does not exist. This is a great way to organize files. And lastly, we have some really cool data points that we can use as well. We can add the name of the month, the abbreviation of the month. For example, I'm going to add the hour that the recording was recorded or the file was created in the middle of the file name. So now we have the military time hour right in the middle of the file name. This is great for adding dates or times to your file name. Now that our file names are ready, we can see the new files on the right, and we can select if we want to adjust anything. For example, I'm going to deselect a couple of these that I don't want to be renamed. And now we can see what all of our files will be renamed to. I'll go ahead and hit apply, and we can see in File Explorer all of the files that we selected have now been renamed. There are many more tools within PowerToys that are available for use. They might not work perfectly, but they are available for you to explore and integrate into your workflows if it's helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. If you're one of our clients and you have a question, feel free to call the help desk. We would love to help you integrate this into your business. If you'd like to learn more about Kite's managed services or consulting services, please contact us. We'd be happy to schedule a conversation and learn how we can help. If you like this video, here's another one you can watch. Our Client Experience Manager does a great job explaining the cyber liability insurance landscape and how it's been changing. We've also got some really cool tips and tricks coming up, so stay tuned.